What is going on? Happy Saturday. It's cold here in Chicago, and I was looking at my hat that I got when I took my Costa Rica solo trip a couple months ago, and it makes me want to go somewhere warm. So I think I might fly out to LA in like December, between like December 10th and like December 20th. If you're in LA, let me know. Let's meet up, let's connect. Today I'm gonna be covering a question that I get asked a lot. Hey, Dylan, my ads got a few sales, but then they just stopped working. Should I kill them? Should I relaunch them at a different time? Etc. What I want to show you guys is a bit of reassurance and somewhat of a strategy to take to get past that phase of inconsistency, doubt, and ultimately end up doing good, profitable days. So this was Wednesday. Net profit $1,122 at a 34% profit margin. If we go to Thursday, 38% profit margin, good result. If we go to yesterday, 32%, another good day. And today we are on pace to do another like 32 to 34% day, definitely another $1,000 profit day. So how did I get to this point? And did I face any inconsistency? And the answer is absolutely. So let me show you this chart. So this is a tool and order metrics. This is a chart, and you can filter by a date range. So I launched the store on October 16th, and I'm gonna show you guys the path that it took me to get to this point. So net profit $19, negative 42, negative 45, negative 153, negative 168, negative 216, negative 177, negative 266. You guys can see, like, look at these negative days here. Negative 104, negative 479. As you see, the path was not a straight path to profitability, but now I'm at that point. So the only time I will have a negative day is if something blows up with Facebook ads, or maybe like a few months from now when I gotta refresh some audiences and whatnot. But now I'm at a point of consistency, and I wanna show you guys that this path of, negative days, positive days, doesn't mean that it's not gonna work out. But what it does mean is you should be analyzing key factors of your results and improving upon it. So what I did is I made this week by week goal and focus chart. So this is the path to brand and store success. And as you see, I put the quote down there that I feel like all of us have asked at some point. I know I surely did when I was getting started. My ads made a few sales, then they stopped working. What do I do? And here's what you should be focused on and what your goal should be for every week for the first 4+ weeks after a new brand launch. So let's just jump into this, and hopefully this is going to provide you guys some value and ultimately help you get to that path of consistency. So week 1 to week 2, you should be focused on finding audiences with potential. I see too many people focused on finding like a winning audience and just scaling, immediately. And that's not how it usually works. Maybe 1 out of every 300 people, that's how it works. But that has never been how it's worked for me. So what I do in week 1 to 2, I find audiences with a high click-through rate, a good cost per result, and a good cost per initiate checkout. And the reason I put good cost per initiate checkout is a lot of times you're not going to be turning too many sales at this phase. And I don't want you to get discouraged by that, because if you have a high click-through rate and that audience is generating a really good cost per initiate checkout, you should continue rolling with it. For example, I have a few audiences right now that haven't generated a sale, but it has like 8 initiated checkouts at $15 per initiate checkout or $10 per initiate checkout. And I know that since my retargeting funnel is solidified, I could pick those buyers up at that point. And so I'll still turn a profit on that customer. And it's important to just focus on finding audiences that are showing promise in this phase. Next, you should be testing as many creative variations as possible, and this is not a joke. I think in the first 2 weeks, I tested 9 to 12 different creative variations with my current brand that I'm scaling. And what you're gonna find is a lot of the creatives that you start with are gonna be your lowest performers. So if you're looking at the data and utilizing it and making educated choices in how you change your creative variation, you're gonna continue to improve every time you release a new creative. And it's incredibly important to find a few that are working in this phase. And then you should be testing your retargeting creatives. I know your custom audience sizes are going to be small, but at this point, just launch it at like a $5 per day budget and try to get those initiate checkouts. Try to get high click-through rates. Try to turn a couple sales here and there. It's important to start solidifying your retargeting funnel, because this is where a lot of the profit is going to come from once you're to the point of consistent profitability and sustainability. So focus on finding audiences that show promise, testing as many creative variations, and testing retargeting creatives in week 1 to 2. Don't focus on scaling and having audiences that perform consistently right from the get-go, because for the majority of people, that's not how it happens. So you made it past week 2, you've got all of the above ready, you've tested those audiences, you're on to week 3 and 4. And this is what you should be focused on, and your goals should be for week 3 to 4. You want 3 to 4 audiences with a positive return on ad spend. And it doesn't have to be crazy. I'm talking like break even. You want ones that are generating 1 to 2 purchases a day here and there. As long as it's breaking even, and even if it's right below breaking even, it's a good start. Because what you're going to start to do with those 3 to 4 audiences is drop them into audience insights. Use the suggestion tool and find new audiences with similar or high affinity audience bases and launch those, test those. And what you're going to see is the more that you test, you're going to find one that works really well. And once you find the one that works really well, you can find other ones with high affinities by utilizing audience insights, launch those, and continuously find new high performing audiences until you have 10 to 12. The next goal you should have in week 3 to 4 is finding at least 2 winning creatives. It's important once you start to up budgets that you have at least 2 creatives in your ad sets. I prefer 3. I find 3 works the best, but in weeks 3 to 4, having 2 winning creatives in every ad set is acceptable. It will perform. And as long as you keep testing as many creative variations as possible, having 2 winning creatives is not going to be a major pain point. So definitely focus on having 2 winning creatives. And by winning creatives, it doesn't have to be generating crazy amounts of sales at this phase yet. Focus on really good cost per initiate checkouts, focus on high click-through rates, good engagement rates. Just focus on the analytics. The best way to test winning creatives before putting them into your audiences with that positive return on ad spend is to create a duplicate campaign, take your best audience, drop it in there, use an objective like add to cart or initiate checkout, and test your creatives against that with the same placements, same devices. Limit the variability in the testing, and you're going to see the difference between your bad creatives and your winning creatives. Then take that winning creative and drop it into those 3 to 4 audiences with the positive return on ad spend. So you've got 3 to 4 good audiences, you've got your 2 winning creatives. Now it's time to start optimizing your landing pages and copy. So you have results coming in, you have purchases coming in. This is time to improve your conversion rate, because once you start scaling, your margins will most likely start to shrink. So you want to optimize your conversion rates before putting the money into the scaling campaign. So improving your product descriptions, improving your call to actions, improving your headlines, improving the branding on the store, improving page load times, which is actually a huge aspect of scaling profitably. And doing these is just going to help you in the long term. Ensuring it's done before scaling is very important. So remember, weeks 3 to 4, we're starting to prepare everything for the scaling aspect of our Facebook ad campaigns. Next up, you need to be focused on solidifying your retargeting funnel. So in weeks 1 to 2, we had it running at $5 per day, really small custom audiences. But as you start putting money behind your campaigns, these custom audiences are going to fill up. So you need to make sure your retargeting is working. And one thing that was crazy, for the first 2 to 3 weeks of my brand, I think I made 1 sale spending $250 on my retargeting campaigns. But instead of killing it, I optimized my creatives. I tried new variations of retargeting creatives. And once again, this isn't always just duplicating your winning creative into your retargeting campaigns. This is testing out short 15-second attention grabbing videos, testing out selfie images holding your product, testing out testimonials. It's about testing and solidifying that your retargeting funnel is turning those people that took some sort of action on the first cold interaction with your brand. They didn't purchase, but they took some action, and ensuring that they do take that purchase conversion action in your retargeting setup. So now you've got 4 audiences, 3 to 4 audiences with a positive return on ad spend. You've got those 2 really good winning creatives getting you good analytics. You've got your landing pages and copy optimized as much as possible at this phase, and you've got a solidified retargeting funnel. It's time to move on to week 4. In week 4, your goals should be building out high budget CBOs that consistently perform. I'm talking $400 to $500 per day budgets, in that every single day are generating a good return on your ad spend. Obviously, with high budget, you've got to have everything solidified in the prior weeks. And that's why I talked about creative testing, solidifying your retargeting funnel, optimizing, because when you start putting that money into the campaigns, the only way they're going to consistently perform is if you have a consistently performing marketing funnel. And that is what I explained you need to do in the first 1 to 4 weeks before this phase. So week 4 plus, you should be focusing on creating high performing CBOs, high budgets. And the reason I say CBOs is it's the future, and honestly, it's working tremendously well for me right now. Next up, you want at least 4 winning creatives. This is important because with the high budgets, you're gonna fatigue your audiences. Your audiences are gonna become saturated quicker, and having more winning creatives is gonna let you prevent that from happening. If you saw my last video, I talked about that free tool that Facebook provides for us, and it shows you how to test audience competition or auction competition, audience saturation, and ultimately shows you what the points of failure are with your current campaign. And having more creatives has legitimately shown me through the data that it is a legitimate way to prevent those points of failure from occurring. So 4+ winning creatives is of the utmost importance. And once again, you need to be continuously testing new creatives at this phase. Just because you have some lookalikes that are performing well, some good interests that are performing well, it doesn't mean that you need to stop testing new audiences. Here, you need to be testing new interests. For example, my top performing audience through lookalikes, interests, and everything currently is iTunes, and my product is not related to iTunes. But the way I did it is I found some interests that worked, used the audience insights, found some with high affinity, and launched them. I'll launch random interests every single day because once one sticks, it gives me new pockets of audiences that my competitors probably haven't hit yet, and it gives me more room to scale, more room for those margins that I showed you at the start of the video. Also, you should be testing demographics. I currently launched a CBO campaign broken down by age splits, so 18 to 24, 25 to 34, 35 to 44, etc. Then I also broke it down by gender. So I had 12 different ad sets in the CBO campaign at $500 per day with no other targeting besides demographics. And this works well because your pixel is optimized and knows who the buyers are. So these big audiences are going to work, and especially with demographics. So test out demographics week 4 plus. And then obviously your lookalikes. Launch as many as possible, different date range, and use that tool that I just talked about to see if there's any overlap between your lookalikes and just merge them together, because you don't want 2 different campaigns and ad sets fighting for the same spot on the newsfeed. It's going to cause your ads not to spend. But obviously, lookalikes are where a lot of the money's at now. So, and finally, this is honestly the most important tip I can give you at this phase, and it is create custom creative content every single week. This is what is separating me from those competitors that, might have been taking over some of my profit and causing those negative days at the start. It's because I'm creating fully custom content that I'm recording myself, editing myself, sending to influencers, having my family take pictures with, doing everything to build out creative content that no one has ever seen before. This is going to prevent that audience fatigue. You're going to find stuff that works way better than those reusable clips from suppliers. You're going to get better results. And this is something you should do from the start, but week 4 plus, I highlighted very because it is truly very important. I'm actually private labeling and going fully custom manufacturer, going to build out a associated iPhone and Android app for this product. So I'm really excited, and that's really what's going to prevent any competition from taking over what I'm doing, because there's a barrier to entry. You have to invest in inventory, you have to create custom content, and I'm capturing a lot of the market every single day, especially during this Black Friday once I launch these ads at very high numbers. So my goal is to get my ad spend up to $4,000 to $5,000 per day in the next 2 days. Obviously, I want to ensure profits, so I have automation rules in place. I tested them, everything's working smoothly. So it's time for me to up those budgets and really get into this buyer frenzied Q4 Black Friday Cyber Monday section. So I hope this helped you out. I wanted to break it down and provide you guys with reassurance that if you're not seeing the results right at the start, it doesn't mean that something's not going to work. But what it does mean is that you need to improve every aspect of your marketing and your brand and your store. And this is how I've done it. If you found value out of this, make sure to hit that like button for me. Leaving me a comment with any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Also, join up on the Facebook group if you haven't yet. Have a great weekend. Have a great day. I wish you guys the best of luck with your brands in Q4. See you guys in the next video. Dylan out.